Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about 10 basic functions that are used in Excel, that is Microsoft Excel. I will begin with sum function, then SUMIF, average, count, COUNTA, COUNTIF, if, concatenate, VLOOKUP, and finally dropdown. Let's begin. The first function is sum. Sum is very basic function. Sum function is used to add values. You see here there's a number of items and their price, cost. If you want to find out the total cost of these all items, we can use sum formula here. To use sum formula in this cell is equal to sum open parenthesis. Now you need to select the range of values. Close the parenthesis and hit enter. Sum function can be used to add the values in two different columns or many different columns. For example, let's copy this and put it here. We want to add these values plus these values. So we can use sum formula here is equal to sum, open the parenthesis, select the range of numbers, comma, and again the range of numbers here that you want to add, close the parenthesis, hit enter. That's the total sum of these two numbers in two different columns. Sum function can also be used to add the individual values. For example, 10, 15 and 25 equal to sum 10, 15, 25, close the parenthesis, hit enter. This is the value. Or sum function can be used this way too, equal to 10 plus 15 plus 25, see, 50. These are the different ways of using sum function. Next one is SUMIF. SUMIF function helps you to find to add values that meets the certain criteria you provide. For example, you want to find the total price of sorts that are in the different rows. Here's a sort, so price is 0. Here's a sort, 90. Here's sort, 125. So what is the total price of sorts in different rows? For example, you want to find the price of sorts. We can use SUMIF formula here is equal to SUMIF, open parenthesis. The range from where you select the values is the range here, then comma, criteria is the sort, and the sum range. Where you use the sum range? Sum range is here, price. Close the parenthesis, hit enter. So 215 sort here. If you highlight and sort here 90 and sort here and 3 places. So this only 90 plus 125 plus 0 equal to 215. This is why the SUMIF function can be used using certain conditions. If you change the value here, for example, hats, HATS, the value will be different. 210, hat 90, and has 120. 120 plus 90 equal to 210. For example, if you use the different value like shorts, SHORTS, shorts 135. Source here only one value because there is only one place this source is here, so only one value is reflected. The next one is average. Average, which is the arithmetic mean and is calculated by adding a group of numbers and then divided by the count of those numbers. So there is a student A and he has a marks in different subjects. If you want to find the average marks, we can use average formula is equal to AVERAGE, average, open the parenthesis and select the range of numbers. Close the bracket, hit enter. So average marks is 78.43. And the next one is student B. That's the marks he received in the IELTS. In listening, for example, he got 7.5 and 7 in reading and 7.5 in speaking and 8 in speaking. Writing and speaking. So what would be the total IELTS score? We can use average equal to AVERAGE, average. We can press tab and select the range, close the parenthesis, hit enter. So IELTS score is 7.5. If you want to find out the average of two numbers, of three numbers, individual numbers, we can use average function here too. For example, is equal to AVERAGE, average of, for example, 10 and 15. 12.5. Average. Count. Count function counts the number of cells that contains number only. So, for example, here, how many cells are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you count here, it doesn't show all 10 cells. It shows less number because this is empty and this is not number, this is a string. So count function only counts the number of cells that contains numbers. For example, is equal to count, select the range from D5 to D14, close the parenthesis, 8, because count function doesn't count the empty shell and the cells that contains a string, not the numbers. Okay. Next one is count A. The count A function counts the number of cells that are not empty in the range. It will not discriminate whether there is a number or not, whether there is a string or number. It simply counts the number of cells that is not empty. For example, if you use count A here, is equal to count A, open parenthesis, and select the range from D5 to D14, close the parenthesis, hit enter. It's 9. Why it is 9? Because the shell D6 is empty. If you make the other shell empty, it will decrease the number 8. But if you put here any other string or letters, so it will count all 10 cells. Total number of cells are 10. This way, count function only counts the cell that has numbers. COUNTIF function counts the number of cells that are not empty in the range. Next is COUNTIF. COUNTIF function is used to count the number of cells which meets certain criteria. For example, if you want to count the number of sorts, how many times sorts items is repeated? Okay, so here 1, 2, 3. 3 times sort is repeated because if you have a long range of data, so it's difficult to count one by one. That's why we can use COUNTIF function. For example, you want to find how many times the sorts is repeated. SHIRTS, sorts. Okay, so we can use COUNTIF formula here, is equal to count if, open parenthesis, range, you select the range here, and comma, the criteria is sort. Close the parenthesis, hit enter. So sorts repeated 3 times, and if you change the value, pants repeated 2 times because here's a pants and here's pants. If you talk about hats also repeated 2 times. If you talk about t-shirts, t-shirt is only repeated 1 time. It's a 1 time only. Okay, so this way COUNTIF function only meets certain criteria. If function. The if function allows you to make a logical comparison between the value that you expect. For example, here's a certain marks. You want to determine the pass or fail. So let's make a criteria. If anyone gets above 70, pass, or less than that is fail. So use if function is equal to if. So its value is if is greater than 70 is pass, else it is fail. We need to put within the inverted commas pass or fail. If the value is true, it will give pass value. If this condition fails, it gives fail value. So you do that, enter, pass. So 85 is greater than 75, that's 70, that's why it pass. We can drag it down, this formula applied to all these cells to the end. So see, fail. This 55 is less than 70, that's why fail. 65 is less than 70, that's why fail. Here 67 is less than 70, that's why fail. 69 is less than 70, that's why fail. So others are pass. So if function is used to satisfy certain condition. Next one is concatenate. Concatenate function is used to join two or more strings into one string. For example, in this data, last name and first names are in two different columns. If you want to bring this last name and first names into one column, having first name first and the last name after. And if you do manually one by one in a long set of data, it might take a long time. So we can use concatenate function to bring these values. What we do is equal to concatenate and hit tab. Then which name you want to put first, and definitely the first name. So first name, comma, and the last name. Below the parenthesis, hit enter. Okay, this is the first name and last name, but the only thing is that there is no space. So we can correct this formula here. What we can do is we can put within the inverted comma, so in space we need it. So comma again, and that's it. Because there was no space between first name and last name, and we put the space because there was no space between first name and last name. Now we put the space in the formula within quote, so the space is reflected here. We can use this formula to the end using autofill function here and drag it down to the end. So see, first name and last name are in the same column. So concatenate function is very useful to bring strings from different columns to one column. Next is VLOOKUP function. We can use VLOOKUP function when we need to find things in a table or a range by row. For example, we have some data here, names, email, ID, phone number, salary. If this data is too long and maybe 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 or 10,000 employees, then it's very hard to find the particular person's information. We can use VLOOKUP function. For example, if you want to take the information of a certain person like Aaron Carter, email, ID, phone number, salary. So VLOOKUP function will be very helpful. The value you want to find out is the lookup value, and the return value always should be in the right side of the lookup value. If it is in the left side, this function, VLOOKUP function, does not work. Another important thing is that the lookup value should always be in the first column in the range for lookup to work correctly. For example, if we select this whole range, the first column is column A. But if we select the range from here, the first column in the range is column B. So if we want to find out the information through name, and name is our lookup value, but if we select the range from the serial number, this VLOOKUP function doesn't work here. We have to select the range from the name column only. Let's try. Here name, email, ID, phone number, salary. Let's put one name here, Aaron Carter. So we want to find out all the information, that means email, ID, phone number and salary, using VLOOKUP. Let's try it. Is equal to VLOOKUP tab. The lookup value is the name. This is here, so we'll select, comma, table array, because the name is the lookup value. That's why the array should start from here, column B. Okay, B4 through B18. That's why, and now column index number. The column the range started from here in column B. That's why column B should be the first number. First, second, third, fourth. So we are looking for email. It's in the second. That's why we write 2 here in the column index number 2. Exact match. You can specify true if you want an approximate match only, but false if you want an exact match of the return value. I want to go for the exact match. So select it and close the parenthesis, hit enter. Now email of Aaron Carter appear. In the similar way, we go for the ID is equal to VLOOKUP tab. Lookup value is same name, and table array is the array I selected here. Column index number is for the ID. That's why 1, 2, 3. This is a third, number 3. And I go for the exact match, false, and so 2001. Now phone number same, equal to VLOOKUP tab. Lookup value is the name, comma, table array. We select the array. The lookup value should be in the first array. It is here, and comma, the column index number 1, 2, 3, 4. Phone number is 4, so we write 4 there. And I go for the false, exact match, and hit enter. This is the phone number. For the salary also we apply the same formula, equal to VLOOKUP and open the parenthesis, lookup value J4, comma, table array, select the same array, range, comma, column index number is in the 5th, comma, and I go for the false here, hit enter. In this way all the information came. I just want to drag them into the center. See, whatever information related to Aaron Carter is here: email, ID, phone number, salary. That's how VLOOKUP function works. But it does not work if you want to find out the name of a person through the ID. That means it doesn't go to the left. All the information related to the lookup value should be located in the columns on the right. That's a very important thing. If you really want to go back and forth, then there's a new function called XLOOKUP. So I will be talking about this later in the other videos. So if you change the name here, for example, let's say name Ian Walker. So if you want to change the name here, Ian WALKER, and see the information related to the EN worker appeared. If you go for Nora Adams, last one 14, Nora ADAMS Adams, information related to Nora Adams appears. Next one is drop down. If you just don't want to type but want to pull the name from the drop down list, this function is quite useful. Just now we created some functions for VLOOKUP, and through the name we just created found out the information related to the person. So if we have a names here in the drop down like this, we don't need to type the names again and again. So we just select these all names, and the name column are in the drop down list here. So how can we create the similar drop down in this cell? So I will show you. First of all, I'll delete this. So now this is deleted. So here next to the name in this cell, we'll create the drop down list of the names that are in this column B. These are all the names. Go here, select the cell, go to the data tab and go to data tools ribbon group, and here is the data validation. Click, and in the validation criteria this allow, and just under allow click his arrow drop down list and select list, and in the source this icon click here and select the list of the names or range of names here, select it and go to the same icon here, click. Now there is allow is list, and this ignore blank and in cell drop down all selected, and this is the range of the names that we want this to appear in the drop down list. Now click OK. If you go here, you see the drop down list is already ready. Now these all names in the drop down. If you change the information we already created the function for the VLOOKUP, that's why all information appear in this way. See, that's how the drop down works. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.